Welcome to Perspective's Eye. Allow me to walk you through the following scenario that begins with an initial contact. You receive a seemingly legitimate job offer, often for a work-from-home position or a part-time gig. The job offer includes a promise of high earnings with minimal efforts. The test check. You are sent a small test check to prove their ability to handle the job. The check is typically for larger amounts than the initial offer, with instructions to deposit it and keep a portion as a processing fee. The deposit. You deposit the check into your bank accounts. The funds appear to be available immediately, giving you a false sense of security. The withdrawal request. You're asked to withdraw the processing fee and send it back to the employer. You may be pressured to act quickly to avoid losing the opportunity. The check bounces. A few days or weeks later, the original check is returned to the bank as fraudulent. You're now responsible for the overdraft fees and any other charges incurred. What is check fraud scam? A type of fraud where scammers send victims fraudulent checks, often as part of a job scam or a fake business deal. The checks appear legitimate but are eventually returned to the bank as worthless. Check fraud scam for businesses usually apply to small businesses that are frequently the targets of fraud because they have fewer resources. Businesses often write larger checks. They have larger deposit accounts and send out checks at the same time of the month, making it easier for a forged check to be processed along with several legitimate checks. The following are some check fraud scams where a business is the victim, such as fake cashier checks, where a scammer sends a fake cashier's check or money order for more than the agreed upon price. They may claim the check was intended for another business and ask the business to wire the difference. Beware of urgent requests, of inconsistent information of the bank on public information, of excessive amounts if higher than the amount expected to be received, of unfamiliar banks, especially if located overseas, and of poor quality of the check printing or misspellings. Overpayment scams. A customer sends a check for more than the amount owed and asks the business to refund the balance. The customer keeps the extra money and leaves the business with a worthless check. Beware of unsolicited, unexpected payments, of urgent requests, of unfamiliar senders, of inconsistent information and inaccuracies, and of pressure tactics to convince returning the overage. Cashback scams. A customer pays more than the amount due with a bad check and then requests a refund, or a scammer offers victims a cashback reward for making a purchase through their platform. Beware of inconsistent information on why they sent a higher amount, on unfamiliar websites or platforms, of excessive cashback offers, of limited information, of no reviews or testimonials, and of pressure tactics to act quickly. First-party vendor fraud. A supplier or vendor misrepresents themselves as a legitimate business, accepts payments, and then never delivers the product or service. Beware of lack of information, such as a vague website or lack of address, unusually low prices, of limited payment options, such as only cash or wire transfers, of limited information, of no reviews or references, and pressure tactics to act quickly. Wait until the end, because we are showing another check fraud scheme that is highly sophisticated and you must be very aware of it. Check fraud scam mitigation. In order to mitigate any possible problems in this particular area, you want to be skeptical. You do not want to deposit large checks. You want to make sure that you report suspicious activity. You want to verify the legitimacy of checks. You must train employees. You want to implement fraud detection tools, and you want to have a contingency plan and also consider insurance. When you want to apply a check fraud scam compliance program, start with a risk assessment. A compliance department should conduct a risk assessment to identify potential vulnerabilities and develop appropriate controls. This assessment should include identifying those vulnerabilities by pinpointing areas where check fraud is most likely to occur. Evaluate risk factors by evaluating volume of checks and the effectiveness of current controls. Establish policies and procedures by establishing guidelines. Cover areas such as customer identification, transaction monitoring, and suspicious activity reporting, as well as employee training, especially those involved in handling checks. A customer due diligence program where you know your customer. Verify the identity of the customers before accepting checks. Request identification documents, address, among others. And enhance due diligence for more in-depth investigations. Transaction monitoring program where you have a suspicious activity reporting regime. Monitor unusual patterns that may indicate fraudulent activity, and alert systems that automatically flag suspicious transactions such as unusual withdrawals or deposits of checks. Check verification and validation, employees, education and awareness in collaboration with law enforcement are areas that you want to include as part of your compliance. Here is the final check fraud scheme. Check washing. Scammers alter the payee information on a legitimate check to redirect the funds to their own account. This is typically done by using chemicals to remove the original payee's information and replacing it with the scammers. Beware of unusual payee information, of altered check appearance, such as discoloration or erasures. If the check was placed by your bank as a delayed deposit or check hold, it may be because the bank has reasonable cause to believe that the funds are uncollectible.